Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering creating invoices and proposals in WEX FSM. This webinar will cover a job form overview. When we say proposals and invoices, we refer to those as job forms. Recommended job form settings to be aware of just to make sure that your invoices and proposals look how you want when you send them to your customers. And then how you can create job forms, where to copy job forms from if you want to copy from a previous proposal or invoice, how to convert proposals to invoices. We'll do a little bit on progress billing, job form reporting, and then we'll do a live Q&A at the end. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. So the main goal of today is to help you get more familiar with proposals and invoices in your system. Before we look into the settings, I just want to show you what the proposals and invoices look like. So when we are on a job, so right now I'm on a job for my customer, Justin Hernandez. Each job that you create in your system will have a proposals and invoices section and proposals and financing section and a invoices and payments section. The proposals, you can create as many proposals as you want per job. Once you start creating proposals in your system, you can then copy. If you click copy, it will show you all your proposals in your system. You can search by favorites. You can also see every single one that you've ever made in your history. You just select which of these you would like to copy. It'll copy over all that previous information, but add the new customer information. And then you can convert that proposal to an invoice, make any updates or edits that you need to, and it will not affect the original proposal it was pulled from. You can click on the PDF icon here to see what your proposal looks like. If you send this to your customer, it will look exactly like this. Now, in a little bit, we're going to go through and just make sure that your default settings for your business information, your logo, how things look, where you can go to update that. If you scroll down, we also have invoices and payments. So any invoice that you make, whether you're converting it to an invoice from a proposal, or you're just making it from scratch here, you can create a invoice from scratch by clicking new. You can also copy, same as proposals, and then they will look exactly the same as the proposals. It will just have the invoice at the top. It'll also let your customer know where their payment status is. Is it overdue or has it been paid or partially paid? Any payments that you make will show up down below in the payments and credits section. So that is just a little overview of what proposals and invoices look like. This is sort of your end goal, but let's now move to what settings you're going to want to set to control how your proposals and invoices will look by default. The first place that we will go is over to settings in the top right. And then we want to go to jobs. And we're actually going to go to all of these pages. I highly recommend that you at least go and look at these pages. So we're going to go to business details to begin. On your business details page, this is going to be what you want your customers to see as it relates to your business. So make sure your business name is spelled correctly, that you have the actual business address you want shown here. Set your time zone, your service email, your contact, your phone number. And then we do have a custom footer. Some of my customers need a license number, like their state requires them to have it on all job forms. And this is just a space where you can put a piece of information. Some of my customers actually just put their slogan, their business slogan right here. And you have your logo. So if you want your logo of your company to show up on your job forms, this is where you would add that. Click Choose File, select the file, and upload that here. When you're done, make sure you do hit save. I have definitely added some info here and clicked out, and it did not save. You got to make sure you hit save at the bottom. Okay, the next page we're going to go to is contract terms, settings, jobs, contract terms. Click on that. That will take you to the contract terms page, and this is the legal stuff. So for some of my customers, they just have one very simple contract terms. They're doing, residential service mainly, and maybe that's all you need. If you're doing a lot of different type of work, some of them have one contract, some of them have a different contract. You may want to come in here and create new terms and put the name of the term, the description, which if you already have something, you can copy and paste into here. And then you have the option to make these terms default for proposals or invoices or both. And this is really up to you. You're going to have these terms visible to your customer per job. And this is the list of terms that you'll be able to select in the moment when you're creating proposals and invoices. Next, we're going to go to job preferences. So let's go to settings, jobs, job preferences. A lot of things to look at here. So if you are, specifically relating to invoices and proposals, your job forms, we have a section for that. So here are job forms. And do you want, by default, these pieces of information to show up? So location name, model number, unit prices, maintenance plan savings, billing address, product numbers, line item amounts and quantities, and those are the main ones. Maybe you don't want your customers to see the model number, so we've got that turned off. Maybe you don't want them to even see the product number either, so you turn that off as well. All that means is when you create a brand new proposal or invoice, it will either show or hide what you select here. So right now, if I make an invoice, it's going to hide any model numbers and product numbers that that product may have when I pull it in from my price books. So you set your defaults here. Whenever you're done, click Save at the bottom. Next, let's go to job types. So we'll go to Settings, Jobs, Job Types. Job types are great for reporting. When you create a new job and you are selecting what type of job it is, this is where it's pulling from. It's pulling from this list of job types. So, for example, if I'm doing a lot of, let's say, plumbing jobs, and then I have an HVAC side of the business and I want to tag those as HVAC jobs, I would want to create an HVAC job type and a plumbing job type separate. Then for my plumbing jobs, I'd tag them as plumbing. For my HVAC jobs, I'd tag them as such. And when you go to your reports, you can filter by job type. Invoices and proposals will also take on the job type of the job that they are within. So if you're doing a lot of proposals, estimates, and you want to consider those, maybe you're going to tag those as commercial, you'll want to come in here and make a commercial job type. And most of those jobs, maybe all of those jobs, will be your bids, your estimates, your proposals. All right, so that is job types. Next, we're going to go to payment terms. So that's settings, jobs, and this is the last one in this section, payment terms. And these are the terms specifically for when your customers need to pay you by. So due on receipt is a default when you sign up, but if you have other types of payment terms, you would add those here. And maybe most of what you're doing is due on receipt. You do the job, you send the invoice, it's due when the customer gets it. But maybe you have a very specific customer that they're a net 60, net 30, or something even more specific. You can create your own terms here by clicking New Payment Terms. All right. So those are some of the settings to be aware of. If you are wanting to, well, so on your proposals and invoices, there's a lot you can do. You can add items from a price book, which is the items, products, and services you're going to sell to your customer. If you want that to be available, you're going to need to set those up. So, especially if you are new to using the software, knowing where this is and knowing how to update the following is really important. So, one is your price book. We would go to More Applications, Price Book, My Price Book. From here, if you already have price book items, that's awesome. They will show up here. You can adjust the categories. Each category will have a folder with items within them. And if you want to edit these items, you can click on them, make your edits, and click Save. Now, I'm not going to do a full tutorial on how to set up and maintain a price book. We do have live sessions on that and knowledge in our knowledge base. You just go down to the Help Center and then video courses and webinars. And you can sign up for webinars here, but we do have our video courses. One of them is on Pricebook and past webinars. If you want to look at the Pricebook specific webinars, you can find those here. But getting your price book set up is one of the most important things because this is going to hold the pricing, the model numbers, the part numbers, the names, the descriptions of the items you're selling on your proposals and invoices. Another feature you may want to set up are maintenance plans. So you'll want to go to More Applications, Maintenance Plans. And same thing as Pricebook. You're going to want to come here and set this up before you start offering maintenance plans to your customers. And you can sell maintenance plans on your invoices. So you can sell them directly through an invoice to your customer. But they need to be set up first. So this is where you would come and add your offerings. Same thing as Pricebook. If you want to dive deeper into maintenance plans, you can go to that Help Center, video courses and webinars, and then go down and find either the maintenance plans course or watch the maintenance plans replays. All right. So let me just check my notes, make sure I did not miss anything on that part. Nope, we are good to go. Okay, so if you go to settings, jobs, just make sure that all of these are correct and set. Make sure that you have your price book in a good place. Make sure that you have your maintenance plans in a good place. But how do you actually make a proposal or an invoice? How are you going to use these in real time in your day-to-day? So to create a proposal or an invoice, you need to have a job. Jobs are what organize everything in your system. So when I create a job, it creates a job folder. And then within that job folder, you can create proposals and invoices, which is what we were looking at earlier. So you can create a job in two main ways. You can create jobs directly from the customer page. So you simply search for your customer, go to their page. I spelled Justin wrong. And then from the customer page, click right here, the very last quick action, create new job form. You can create a job and you can create that with a proposal, or with an invoice, and it'll just make that job form for you and create that job. You can also go to the schedule and create an appointment. So whether you're clicking new and creating a new appointment, you can drag an appointment over from the work queue. But whenever I create a new appointment, that will also create a job. So here's this job 15624. I can just click into this job. And you can create proposals and invoices here from the job page. Newer copy, and this is what we were looking at earlier. So once you've made your job, you can now come in and create a proposal or create an invoice from scratch. So let's do that now. Let's go ahead and create a proposal. So here I am. I'm on this job. I know I need to propose the work that we're going to do. So I'm going to create a new proposal by clicking new. Now we're on the proposal. Let's just start at the top and work our way down of what we're seeing here. We have mark as favorite. When you use the copy feature, it's really nice when you have your most important proposals or the ones you use most frequently favorited because it's easier to find. You'll see your favorites list first when you go to copy. So if this is a job you do a million times, you may want to come and just mark it as a favorite. That way you can copy this the next time you go to do this job. Pricing settings, if you click on this, this allows you to change the pricing strategy. So you could change it from standard price to, friends and family discount if you have that set up. You can hide the maintenance plan pricing. You can hide line items and quantities and unit prices. So that's up to you, personal preference on whether you want to show or hide those or change the pricing. But we have our proposal. We need to add items from our price book. So we will go to add item, and this pulls up your price books. I've got from price book, which is the WEX FSM integrated price book that we were looking at earlier. If you have the add-on subscription Profit Rhino, this is where that will show up. Profit Rhino is a pre-built price book that is added to your system that already has a huge catalog of flat rate pricing. If you have that as part of your subscription, you'll see those items here. And if you sync to QuickBooks and use your QuickBooks item list for pricing, then when you sync, your item list will show here. So for today's example, you can either pick, if you know exactly what you're looking for, you can just search for it. So let's look for a general part. Here's the one I want. I will select it. These will go in order. They'll be put onto the document in order of when you check them. And for this one, we'll just leave one and click add item. That will then add it to the job form. Let's go and add another item. So we'll click add item. And instead of searching, maybe I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but I know the folder of the things I want. I can just go to my folders. I know I want some labor, so I'm going to go to my general, service, and I need some labor. So here's my general labor and add item. And there we go. And maybe for this, I worked for, I'm proposing that I will work for 3 hours. So the labor will be times 3. You can update the quantity of things here. If you want to update any of the details of this, you can click on the item and change the name, the description, the price, even the income account where it will sync to QuickBooks. All right. So we've added our items here. On your proposals, you can add financing products if your customer was doing a job that requires financing. This is where you can recommend a maintenance plan. So let's say for this proposal, we'll also offer them to become part of our maintenance plan. So you'll choose recommend a maintenance plan. Choose the plan that you want to sell. Let's sell our Comfort Club plan. It's a 1 year, 2 visits a year plan for $100. We'll click save. And now this is ready to present. I can, show this to my customer. Um, if you have more items that you would like to recommend, maybe I'm here wanting to propose this is what we are planning on doing. And then in addition to that, if you would like, here are some other options. So I could uh, add a recommended item. So down below, add recommended item. Let's click that. And let's say along with this thing we're doing for them, we want to do a filter change too. So here's a filter replacement and we'll add that. So this is in our recommendations. When we present this to the customer, we'll say, today it'll be 965.25 if you approve. Um, that includes our maintenance plan. And I noticed there were a lot of leaves in your filter, so we could do a filter change. It's $20. You are getting your savings today, and now you can add this. You can add, if the customer says yes, you click the thumbs up, and that goes up into the total. If the customer says no or changes their mind, you can move this back to recommendations with the arrow here. And then you are able to say that they either accepted or, well, if they accepted, you add it to the product section and charge them. If they decline, you can say, I decline the recommendations above. Okay. And now we have our presentation ready to go. So we will scroll to the bottom and click present. If you are showing this to the customer, maybe you have a laptop out in the field and you're using the desktop version, you can show this to your customer. They can make a decision here and then they can sign. You would just type in their name and they can accept, decline, or convert to invoice right from here. If you want to send this to your customer, they can review the proposal online and accept or decline from wherever they are, and you will then see whether they've accepted or declined. Let's go ahead and accept the proposal. And now, here is our proposal. We can see it has been accepted because it says signed as the status. And then you can convert to invoice here. So, you go, you do the work. Now it's time to charge the customer. We're going to convert to invoice as a total proposal amount. And that will now create a invoice for this. You still have the proposal. It's not like we have deleted the proposal. You still have your proposal. We're just now making a invoice from the proposal. From here, you can make edits, you can change whatever you need. Let's say the customer decided they want to sign up for the maintenance plan. So you can click sign up now and run through the prompts here. So I know this is all correct. I'm going to click next. These are the service windows. We're going to come out in the spring and do the AC cleaning, in the fall and do the heat cleaning. This is the contact for when I go to actually schedule. And then this is the payment. We're going to have them pay for it on this invoice and click done. And there we go. The customer's happy. We have all the information, all the work we're going to do for them. Let's say of course, we talked them into the filter change. So we'll go ahead and add that. And we're ready to charge the customer. At the bottom of each invoice, it has some payment options. You can use pay now, record payment, or send it. Pay Now will process through WEX FSM and send the money to your bank account. This is great, especially for field technicians who take payment in the field. You enter that card information, use the swipe, the chip, whichever reader you have. However, you're taking that payment in that field, it will send it to your bank account. Record payment is if you're processing outside of WEX FSM. An example of this, if you are paid with cash, you're going to record that you took cash, but you still need to take that cash to the bank for it to go into your account. And you can send this. So send it to the customer. They can make a payment online, and that will also process through WEX FSM and send that money to your bank account. Let's go ahead and record payment today so you can see that process. We'll click record payment. This is saying this has not been signed. So it just prompts you as a reminder. It is always good to get a signature, but we are fine with this. We'll move forward. This is the invoice that we want to pay. We are applying a portion of this to a maintenance plan, so that's already pre-selected for you. And let's say that they paid with cash today and record payment. And there we go. We created a proposal. We converted that proposal to an invoice. We edited the invoice a little bit, and then we took payment. And here's the record of that payment. This job is now complete, so I can come here under the job status and mark this as closed. All right. Let me check my notes one more time. We did our proposals, invoices. Oh, yes. So on your invoices, this is a question I do get pretty often. When I create an invoice, there is a balance. If I take a partial payment on an invoice, let's say that the balance is 1,000 and they make a payment of 500, you will see the payment amount as 500 and you will see the balance will be what's left over, another 500, and the status will still say signed if they signed it, but it will say partially paid. Then you just apply another payment to it. You can apply as many payments to an invoice as you want, but once it's paid in full, this will then say paid like it does here. And you will see all of the individual payment transactions here. So yes, you can take a partial payment. It's just that when you are processing the payment, you just update the amount that it says to the payment that they want to make. Okay. We are doing great on time. We're still going to cover progress billing, job form reporting, and then where you can find more training on this topic and the replays. Okay, so for progress billing, I've got a job here. Now, what is progress billing? If you are working on a job, let's say it is a very big job. Typically, progress billing is a way to charge your customer in phases for a job that has multiple phases, maybe working new construction. You're going to want to create a proposal that showcases the entirety of the project, but it will take 6 months. And, each phase you will charge them as that section or phase of the job is complete. You can set that up in your system simply by creating a proposal, which I've done here. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So I create a proposal. And if this is for a big job, I will want to design my products to be the phases and what those include. So I would build out, in this example, phase 1 through 4, what each phase will offer or what we'll be doing for each of those phases. and the price. So for this one, we're saying there's 4 phases and you're going to pay $10,000 per phase. Now I know, it's probably more common to do different percentages based on your industry. This is just a simple example. So if you're charging 60/40, whatever you're needing to charge, you would make your phase and the pricing to follow that. Okay, so this is now a job for 40 grand. This is what I want to show my customer, and we will, present this to them. They accept it, and now I'm going to save and close this. Once the customer accepts it, it's time to do the work. And when you complete a phase, you would come in, convert to invoice, and you want to choose as a percent. And for this example, we did 25%. It will then populate an invoice for 25% of the total of the proposal. Now, I've already done this, so this is all red and kind of yelling at me because I've already done this in this job. But this is just to show you an example. Choose as a percent, put the percent you want to charge. It'll show you how much the invoice will be for and what's left of the total for the job. Convert to invoice. You will do this as many times as you have phases you're charging. And so if you are doing, 60/40, you would do it twice. If you're doing 25%, you do it 4 times, etc. Once you convert those to invoice, you'll see those at the bottom. And I name these just progress invoice 1, 2, 3, 4. You may put these in as, your rough-in, your installation, your inspection, whatever it is, whatever the phases are. You can name the invoices to follow that just for your own documentation. Then a pro tip, you could at the beginning convert to invoice for each phase. So you have an invoice that's just hanging out here, ready to charge the customer when it's time. But in your accounts receivable aging, you want to make sure that you're updating the actual due date of these. So go into the invoice itself. And just make sure if you're going to make these invoices in advance, make sure that you set the due date right here into the future. That way it doesn't mess up your books and your accountant isn't upset with you. Because you don't want to show outstanding, for 60 days, there's $20,000 they are due when it's not actually due until you finish the phase. Okay. So that is good to go. For this, I'm just going to discard changes. So there you go. That is progress billing, little summary on how that works. Now let's go into reporting. We do have a lot of reports we're going to look at, but this will be our final section before we get into our Q&A. So get your questions ready. Okay, so you create your jobs, you create your proposals, you get your customers to say yes, you then create your invoices, you take payment. This is happening all over. You've got technicians in the field who are taking payments. You've got people in the office. Customers are coming from every direction. How do we keep track of our data? How do I know what's going on with my proposals? What's going on with my invoices? So I'm going to show you now where you can see your proposals and invoices in a big bulk list, and then some reports that I think will be good for running your business. First, let's go to jobs. And we've got the proposal list and the invoice list. And we're going to look at both of these. These lists here are exactly what it sounds like. It is a list of all of our proposals, a list of all of our invoices, and so on. The proposal list will show you all your proposals in your system. And it will show you statuses. You can even manage and update statuses from here. You can see your jobs and you can search. It's a very simple page. If you want a quick view, click the PDF. In the PDF, it will take on the preferences that we talked about earlier. The invoice list, which is going to be jobs, invoice list. Now, you may want to bookmark this page because this has your auto sync status. If you're syncing to QuickBooks, when you create an invoice and you add items to it, it will then show up in your invoice list and it will then sync down to your QuickBooks. But if there's an issue, if there's a piece of information that's missing, it will go into a not ready status and it will not sync. So if you're noticing that an invoice is not syncing, you're in QuickBooks, you expect to see it and it's not there, this is the page I would recommend coming to. Type in, you can search by job type, by invoice number, or sorry, by job number, invoice number, and you may see not ready. To update this, you just click details, read what it wants. This is saying a tax group is required. So you just select the tax group and hit save. So you can do your own sync troubleshooting right from here. 9 times out of 10, it's just a piece of information that's missing. It doesn't know the income account, it doesn't know the tax group, etc. So let's just fix this one. You must select an account. So this one wants an income account for this item and save. Very simple to do your own sync troubleshooting if needed right from here. Next, let's look at some reports. So let's click on reporting in the top left. And that brings us to the reporting page, which is going to give you all of our reports available here. We're going to look at the proposals report, which is in the jobs section here under proposals. If you are doing a lot of work that have proposals, your estimates, you will be able to see your close rate here. Each time you have a job that is marked as an opportunity, it will be considered a job to either be won or a job you will lose. If you win that job and you complete it, it will be marked as a win, and that will show as opportunities won. If you do not, if it's declined, you do not do the work, then you can close it, but it doesn't have any invoices, it doesn't have any payments, that will be marked as a loss. It will then factor your wins versus losses to create your close rate. So you can just keep track on maybe your big jobs using the proposal lists that have proposals attached. Then we have your receivables report. So from reporting, under the accounting, it says receivables. Click on that. The receivables report is going to be your best friend. This is one of the best places for collections and making sure that your customers pay their bills. From here, you can see all of your outstanding, well, you can see all of your invoices from here. The main question usually is who owes me money and how can I get that money? So from here, I would go to invoice status, or sorry, payment status and go to overdue. So we can see the date range is set here. This is now filtered total of how much for this date range my customers owe me. So there's almost 10 grand out there in the world in this date range, and we want to collect on that. So I'm going to select all, which will select all of these overdue invoices and send. That will send it to these customers, and it's just a reminder, hey, this is officially due. Please, pay this, and they can pay online. It's really nice when you send a ton of reminders in bulk, and a lot of people pay their bill all at one time. The final report we're going to look at is the job summary report. So we're going to go back to reporting, and we'll go to job summary in the jobs section. The job summary report. This is great to see an overall summary of your job, as simple as that sounds. It's going to be the creation date, the customer, the location, what type of job it is. Are there any flags, follow-ups that this job requires? And then this is my favorite part. This shows you the number of appointments, signed proposals, and invoices. If I notice that something was scheduled, but no appointment was completed and it was a week ago, what happened? Did we miss this appointment? Did my technician just forget to clock in on the mobile app? Now I can go and kind of investigate, but here I can identify areas where there may be issues. If I did an appointment and it's complete, but there's no proposal or invoice, where are we at with this job, guys? And then you can go and investigate. Okay, that is all the information we have for today's presentation. We're going to go ahead and move to our Q&A now. But before we do, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Creating Invoices and Proposals.